"She's no evil sorceress, that's for sure," said Major Domo. The other two people at the table nodded. One said, in a thoughtful fashion. The thoughtful one was only a person, if you were feeling particularly generous with the term. He was a doll made out of burlap, with heavy pins stuck in his head like hair. His name was Pins. When you show people dolls full of pins, they tend to think of voodoo. Voodoo is a very interesting religion and is not, as some people believe, all zombies and pins stuck in people. Nevertheless, Pins was not a voodoo doll. Nobody was quite sure what Pins was. He had shown up a few decades earlier and taken over doing the laundry and tailoring in Castle Hangnail. He stood about 18 inches tall and had a seam for a mouth and holes for eyes. You could see his white stuffing through the eye holes. Pins lived in a small room over the laundry with a talking goldfish. The goldfish was intensely neurotic and convinced that she was always sickening for something. Pins took very tender care of the fish and was currently knitting her a very small waterproof scarf.
"Does she not look like an evil sorceress?" asked Pins. "She's a wicked witch, isn't she? Or is it more than that?"
Major Domo thought about this for a while. If anyone else had asked him this question, he would have defended Molly without question. One simply did not badmouth the master to outsiders. It wasn't done. But they were all minions here, and minions are traditionally all in this together. "She definitely doesn't look it. Although," he added, with the air of one being fair at any cost, "she does have very witchy boots."
"Good shoes are the foundation for any wardrobe," said Pins, knitting another row on the scarf. "If it's just a matter of sewing, I'll have her looking properly wicked in no time." Pins was very proud of his tailoring, because, after all, nobody knows fabric like someone who's made out of it. "I suppose," said Major Domo dubiously. He had great respect for Pin's sewing, but Molly was rather small and round and frizzy. He didn't think any amount of costuming could turn her into a tall, elegant sorceress with ice dripping off her fingertips. "Is she not magic enough?" asked the other person at the table. Then she went, psss, like a train coming into the station. The other two ignored this, because this was just how Serenissima talked. Serenissima's father had been a djinn, a spirit of immortal fire. Her mother had been a shopkeeper in the capital. This sort of thing goes on all the time, and nobody pays much attention, except for the fact that one of her mother's distant ancestors had been a mermaid. Mermaid blood can lie dormant for generations. Serenissima's mother had been fond of the seaside and taking long baths, but those were the only signs. But when the mermaid blood met the djinn blood, they fought as only fire and water can fight, and produced a creature of immortal steam. It's from the word djinn that we get genie, but you couldn't have put Serenissima in a bottle. It would have exploded from the pressure. She lived in a tea kettle instead. She dripped scalding water wherever she went, and clouds of steam rolled off her constantly. She could turn a room into a sauna just by sitting quietly in the corner. She couldn't very well work in a shop with these handicaps, so when she was 14 years old, she had answered an ad in the paper to come and do maid work at Castle Hangnail, and had been there ever since. She had even been granted her associate minion degree last year, and was considering graduate minion studies. The huge rooms were too large to turn into saunas, and wherever Serenissima walked, the stones would be scoured and the carpets steam cleaned. She could clean most of the castle merely by taking a brisk walk around it, and she spent the rest of her time in her tea kettle on the stove in the kitchen, writing epic poetry about boilers. "I don't know," said Major Domo in answer to the question. "She says she can turn invisible if she holds her breath, which isn't bad."